Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, welcome to the Real Honest Radio Podcast. This is your host,
the Real Honest One, John Ritlin, and joining me on this venture is my best friend and co-host,
the Terminator.
We've got a pretty packed show here for you. Obviously, one day before All Out, one day before NXT TakeOver UK Cardiff, and one day before New Japan Royal Quest.
'Twas the night before All Out, and all through the quest. Not a creature was stirring, not even Cardiff.
I'll accept that. That's pretty much actually the best way I would have done it. Actually, I wouldn't have done it that way at all. But yeah, we're just here talking about a bunch of stuff.
Yay.
Pretty much like the last 3 episodes. So yeah, we'll just see how long this one goes. But honestly, it's a packed weekend. I think we should make it clear that...
It's also a pack weekend when you think about it.
It is a pack weekend. All in Chicago, by the way. We will be watching All Out.
Yes, we will.
I will be watching Royal Quest tomorrow. I will not be watching TakeOver Cardiff. I don't really see the point in you watching TakeOver Cardiff. A, you want to sleep in. B, we haven't kept up on the UK brand at all.
No.
It's impossible to.
No.
It is.
So speaking of UK, we got some stuff to talk about with our first subject of the day.
Which, yes, is actually NXT thoughts in general. We could just start with, I suppose, for the most recent episode.
Yeah. Well, I think the most recent episode is one to really cover because Rhea Ripley.
I want her to dig that freaking boot into me. I don't care.
Hey, I mean, whatever floats your boat. I'm sure there are a lot of people. I mean, there are a lot of people who can do that for you.
There are. But no, that was pretty cool to see her appear.
Yes.
And
challenge Shayna Baszler.
This needs to be where the reign ends, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because if she beats Rhea...
There's nowhere else for her to go.
I mean, but people are like, oh, bring back Dakota Kai. I didn't buy into the Dakota Kai Shayna Baszler thing anyway.
Dakota Kai feels too much like Bayley. And not to denigrate Bayley or Dakota Kai.
No.
But you need something more complex than a, classic babyface to beat Shayna Baszler.
Dakota could be a bit more heelish, I think, if they really gave her a chance. The problem is that ship sail. And that's nothing against Dakota. It's just you could have Dakota.
It would require more build.
It would require a lot more build. Because I don't even think that would have really worked even if Dakota hadn't gotten injured. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, to be perfectly honest. But it was cool. Rhea did get a big pop.
Yep.
And
of course she did. She's Rhea fucking Ripley. As opposed to normal Rhea Ripley, who was at the Mae Young Classic. This one's a little different.
I will tell you this. When I first saw Rhea Ripley, I said, okay. I mean, but just at her age, obviously with the fact she had the background and everything, it's like, okay, she looked like the kind you want to take home to your mother. And then, a year later, she's just like, it's like, I'm just going to lift you. She's going to carry you across the goddamn threshold instead of you carrying her across the threshold.
Well, I mean, I'm almost light enough to qualify for 205 Live now. So.
What weight are you currently at, my friend?
205.2 pounds. I'm almost a 300.5 ounce Filipino.
This is one of your finest works on Nia Jackson.
I am a 300.5 ounce Samoan. Nia, do you even math?
No, she doesn't. But with Rhea, I think they're probably going to aim for Rhea and Shayna on the opening episode, on USA.
That would be a great way to open it up. Have Shayna maybe move on to the main roster.
And even if so, even if not, because NXT will actually be, it's pretty much a third brand, even though there is some developmental issues with it because of some of the people that they have there. I'm just going to mention Duke and Shafir for no reason.
Well, I mean, you just mentioned developmental, and so, I mean, it's kind of inferred that that's the reason.
It just... They really are a third brand because of the USA Network deal now. They're going to have to give the main roster type contracts. Because you got TV money. They're going to be out of Full Sail possibly.
Now that they've got
December.
TV money, they can actually back up the contracts that they've signed a lot of this independent talent for.
Yeah, and I mean, but there's...
Like Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, and... By the way, can Adam Cole be the only one of the Undisputed Era to cut promos? Because please stop having Roderick Strong cut promos. Please. He's a great wrestler.
Bobby Fish ain't bad.
Bobby Fish isn't bad. Kyle O'Reilly isn't horrible, but strong. And
Cole is definitely the leader because he's also the mouthpiece. As well as, somebody who's terrific in the ring.
Yeah, and he is very, very good in the ring. It's going to be interesting.
It's no wonder people, would liken him to Shawn Michaels. And not just because of all the kicks.
And the pumped-up kicks, but Jordan Miles challenging him.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Of course, I still call him
go exactly the way you anticipate.
I still call him Go ACH according to his old Twitter handle.
I like calling him Short Wayne Brady.
I do forget that Wayne Brady is kind of tall. Actually, I do always forget that, but he is kind of short, Wayne Brady.
Yeah. Jordan Miles actually made jokes about that online.
That sounds about right. He is a big old nerd. I mean, if you've seen anything on his Twitter,
right. We should also talk about. What do you think is next for Johnny Gargano?
I think that he will probably... I think he will have some other feuds. I'm not exactly sure. And I did read the stuff on the spoilers, so please don't post them in the comments, guys. But I think he will still be involved in feuds. I think he could work his way back to the title at some point.
You don't think he's moving up to the main roster?
Not yet. I mean, because
everything that they've been showing on NXT seems to be pointing towards the end of his time in NXT.
And it could be. Now, honestly, he's been in NXT his whole entire run that he's done. Yeah. Sans that
Maybe they'll bring him onto the premiere of SmackDown. Which would be good. Which would be good. God damn it. Which I would actually enjoy that. I would enjoy that quite a bit. It would be a lot of fun to see what they could do with him. Yeah.
It would have to be SmackDown, though, because he will get eaten alive on Raw.
Yeah, SmackDown is the place for him, if not NXT.
Well, and the thing is they're going to rotate people in and out of NXT as well. People that aren't being utilized. Like, look at the Fashion Popo.
Popo!
So, we had, because we had them, a couple weeks ago, they faced off against the Forgotten Sons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even making a joke. I literally forgot who the fuck they faced. Because the Forgotten Sons are just such... They're good wrestlers, but they're such a boring stable.
They're not memorable.
Ha!
Which is sad.
It's also kind of ironic. I think that's how that word sounds.
I mean, the most memorable thing about them is the fact that you've got Mr. named of an edgelord, Jackson Riker.
Who is...
It's Jackson with an X. The X stands for extreme.
he is a good... He was good in Impact as Gunner. He was pretty good. And Blake and Cutler are a good team. It's just... I think with NXT, one, I love Io Shirai's new character.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as what I said about Hikaru Shida when they posted a picture of her holding that cane. I said, I'd take a caning from her and not complain. I have some issues, in case you haven't guessed, folks. Not that it wasn't obvious before. But NXT, because we're leading right up, we're just a couple weeks away from them going on, on there, and that's going to be interesting. It's probably still not going to be worth reviewing, and it's going to be impossible to review it, because we're going to be reviewing AEW. Because it's starting in October.
Yeah.
And, of course, Vince getting the 2 weeks.
We're going to have some time in between each event to, get some sleep.
That's the thing is...
With SmackDown being on Fridays. And
they're going to have to stick with SmackDown being on Fridays, and if it's for, a big event like Mania, just tape it and just show it.
From the logo, it doesn't look like it's SmackDown Live. It's just...
They're going to still make it live. There's no way Fox would pay that much for a for a tape product.
Well, tape products can be better produced.
True, but I doubt they would do. They would the results would get leaked. The ratings would be down.
True.
That's. I mean, I
get you.
I totally get what you're saying. I would agree that they could post produce that. That's probably why, NXT taped NXT is so good, because you can edit out anything Duke and Shafir do badly, which is everything. I will take every shot I can to bury those two because they don't belong in wrestling. But honestly, what are your thoughts as far as where we're going with all these NXT brands? Or maybe not NXT brands, but where NXT could be going with USA. How do you think the divisions are going to do?
Better.
Yeah?
Overall, the NXT going to USA Network for 2 hours is a good idea for NXT. Yeah.
You don't have enough time in the day to showcase the amount of talent that you should show. Not that you can show, but that you should show. Like, for instance, having more women's matches, because the women's division is going through a bit of a revival again. Not that
Oh no, they're
revival.
jobbing.
Yeah, some of them are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You've got your North American title isn't being shown every week.
Yeah.
And as a mid-card title, it's something that people should see constantly.
Especially if you want to get it over, because that was their issue when they did it first.
Yeah, I mean, having, Dream hold it is the right choice.
I also need to know...
Objectively.
Yeah, I also need to know who the fuck that redhead was that was helping move that couch for reasons.
Oh, yeah, that during that entrance.
Right? Hell.
Well, no, I like where the possibilities lie for NXT as long as Vince doesn't get his grubby little hands on them.
That's what worries me. See, if the ratings aren't good, Vince will not be able to stay away on. Even if the ratings are good.
The genetic lackhammer.
Should almost make that a shirt. We have a bunch of shirt ideas if we actually ever...
Oh, sure. I can't believe I forgot to do that.
Don't worry. Proud of that one?
No.
Nah, you should be. Doesn't matter. I agree with you on the division. They're going to need to bolster their tag team division.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to need to utilize more people that they have in the performance there that are TV ready that don't get a chance to be used. Have some jobber teams. Have some people bubble up. Because if you have that many in the performance center, if you have that many people not being used, they had Mansoor there and, Punishment Priest, as I call him, but actually it's, Damian Priest.
Yeah, Damian Priest, it's a much more intimidating name than...
Punishment Martinez.
Yeah. Hello, I am Punishment Martinez.
He has a great theme. That's one thing I do like about him is his theme.
Yes.
His theme is
his
much...
whole entrance segment where he, shoots an arrow up and everything lights up.
People say, well, he's like a Tanner Baron Corbin. I said, Damian can wrestle.
Yes.
It's not that Corbin's terrible. He's just not interesting.
Baron Corbin's got rinse and repeat spots.
Which is ironic because he has no hair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's what you were going for, wasn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little. Okay. But their tag team division, their women's division, Vanessa Bourne, somebody I'm very high on.
Hi.
I would like to say hi to her. Aaliyah being paired with somebody, it's a good idea because she has not been able to find her footing. She's had more gimmick changes.
What's Deanna Purrazzo been?
That is somebody that I was actually just about to bring up, is that could benefit so many women like her and others that aren't featured a little.
They've got a huge women's roster, and we only see all of 5 of them.
And, I mean, you got Mia Yim, who, I'm sorry, Mia Yim's good. I just don't find Mia Yim interesting. I don't.
No, just skill-wise, she's very, what's the word?
Methadactyl. That injury, though, caused her to slow her style down, and I get that.
But the problem is that she hasn't really adapted.
No.
Maybe if she took a more submission wrestling style approach instead of focusing on being a striker. Because once she starts striking, 5 minutes into the match, she's out of breath.
Maybe if she took a more submission-based wrestling, Keith Lee would like it.
I don't think anyone's got arms big enough to submit Keith Lee.
You just going to steamroll over the point I was trying to make there?
No.
Okay. Actually, speaking of Keith Lee, really, really quickly, that Keith Lee Dominic Dijakovic match.
The 600-pound Spanish Fly.
Fucking Christ, man!
I was like, what?
I do like how Nigel referenced what was it, Ivan Drago, or Drago, where if he flies, he flies.
If he flies,
he
flies.
I put up actually a Captain America thing. I understood that reference.
Yeah.
But
it almost felt anticlimactic, the ending of that match, but stop laughing at every word that sounds relatively dirty.
No, I can't.
But it's one of those, it almost didn't end the way I expected, but it ended with the feast your eyes.
Yeah.
I really think he should have brought him out to the middle of the ring, just feast your eyes, and then
and
hit it instead of just hitting the knee.
And to be fair, Dominic, I had no problem with him winning. I actually think it was the right call because I think we're going to have Keith Lee go heel soon. What will help...
Oh, he'd be a great heel.
Oh, he would be. He's been a heel before, as far as I can remember. With the 2-hour format, yes, they can feature more talents. The problem is they're going to need to make sure they rotate people still properly. Otherwise, some people are going to get overexposed. That's part of what makes NXT special, is you only see people here and there. But then sometimes you forget about people, and I'm not making another Forgotten Sons joke. So it can benefit them.
Who?
Exactly. It can benefit so many people.
Right.
But they're going to need to make sure that they don't turn it into like WCW Thunder, where they have it on USA because, and then they just slop a bunch of people out there and don't put in the effort. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but that's what I fear could happen.
I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but,
it could happen.
that's what they're going to do. No.
I mean, it could happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Again, if Vince gets his hands on him. Or on the brand, and that's if. It's a big if. It depends on ratings and stuff, but back to the women's division. They do have plenty of women they need to feature better, and hopefully they can.
Yeah. You've got a lot of women that you could build up and really flesh out the main roster by bringing some of them up as they continue to elevate themselves.
Women's wrestling is something they really do need to focus on more.
Because that could be their bread and butter, as it were.
Yeah, and I mean...
And that's not a sandwich joke, John. Please don't go there.
It's too late. I already did.
All right.
You knew I was going to.
Yeah.
I mean... But NXT... I'm excited to see what NXT is going to do.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was pretty interesting to see what happened this week. I mean, you had, the Undisputed Era beat the Street Profits. 2 white guys beating down 2 black guys in Florida.
Right.
So, typical.
Yep.
I'm proud of that one, by the way. I mean, I shouldn't be, but I am.
So, stranger than an average day in Florida?
Yeah, your parents live in northern Florida, don't they?
Yeah. Thankfully, so
Away
far they're
from
going to
the-
be away from the hurricane.
By the way, to anybody that happens to be listening to this really, really quickly before we move on to the next topic,
If
please.
you're in the path of Hurricane Dorian, please GTFO.
It took me a second to realize what the hell you were saying.
Right. If someone is saying, like, if someone in the area, in a place of authority says, you need to get out of town because that hurricane's coming through, please do, for your safety.
And we don't want you to die.
Mm-hmm.
Dying's bad for your health. So, but in all seriousness, guys, do stay safe. And now with that PSA out of the way, let's talk about our all-out expectations. We're not going to do our predictions, but let's talk about like what we think the best match on the card and the worst match on the cards could be. I, for one, am excited about the fact that they got a couple women's matches on here.
Mm-hmm.
They got the Riho and Hikaru Shida match. It's nice to see Hikaru Shida back. That should be fun. The Women's Battle Royal. Awesome Kong is going to be in there, which is really cool. Shazza McKenzie, who I've heard the name, I've seen very little of, but I was pretty impressed with what she did. I will say this, though.
Mm-hmm.
The show-stealing match... The show-stealing match could be Pac versus Kenny Omega.
Yes.
Because you get 2 guys where... I'm not down on Kenny Omega. Yes, despite being a fan of Cornette's podcast, I am not down on Kenny Omega. I don't think Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world.
But he is top.
He could be. I don't know. We could ask Coda. I ain't judging.
As in top talent.
That's what I meant.
He's up there.
Or down there. Anyway, moving on. What do you think about Pac Omega? What do you think could be the show-stealing match?
I'm so excited. And I'll probably hide it, but,
Okay. But do you think that could be the show-stealing match? Or maybe Adam Page versus Chris Jericho?
No, Pac versus Omega.
Versus Omega.
No offense to Chris Jericho and Hangman Page, but Pac versus Omega is a match I don't think anyone's seen.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of it. The only match I'm not really excited for, well, Best Friends versus Dark Order. I don't think it's going to be terrible.
That might end up being like...
Sleeper.
Yeah.
Might be better than we expect. I mean, you got Trent Beretta.
I hope it's better than we expected, because our expectations at the moment are incredibly low.
That's true. Of course, you got Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc. It's a Cracker Barrel clash, so now it's a hardcore match, which is good, because Joey Janela can't wrestle. So.
I'm just crackers about cheese.
Freaking loved Wallace and Gromit.
Me too.
So great.
Cheese, Gromit. And I'm not saying that because Jimmy Havoc is British.
Jimmy Havoc is really cool to meet, though.
He is. We met him a couple times.
The only... What?
We met him twice or once?
No, once.
Once.
Yeah. The only match I'm not excited for is a 6-man tag that SCU is involved in. Because they got a child on the other side, so... It's dumb. So...
He's definitely comedy spots Marcus Stunt, but...
He's a joke.
Watching him go up against Rocky Romero, it's quite obvious he knows what his role is, and that is to job and to make people laugh.
When did he go up against Rocky Romero?
Or was it? No, not Rocky Romero. Ace Romero.
Ace Romero. Oh, God, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, Marco Stunt at 5'2" versus Ace Romero.
Ace Romero is like 400 or something like that. So what are your expectations for All Out? Do you think it's going to be as good as Double or Nothing?
I say it's going to be a solid B+, A- show.
Yeah. So about Double or Nothing, pretty much. Even with some of the bullshit.
Yeah.
They have to make this a landmark show, though.
I wouldn't trust them on gambling, though. I mean, first they went all in, then they went Double or Nothing, which you can't do if you're already all in.
That's true.
And then now they're all out, so they're playing with no chips.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
As long as they decide not to pull out, because then that means the company's done.
You think that'll be like their whole big 3 pay-per-views, though?
The pull out?
Sure. All in, Double or Nothing, and all out?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to do one more this year. You're talking annually? I don't think so. I think they're going to probably vary it up. We'll see, but they're doing another one in November. Mm-hmm. So it's probably going to be... They better make it the week before Survivor Series, because I'm not saying that they can't compete against NXT, but I'm just saying they shouldn't try to.
Yes.
They should try to go for that. And if Vince moves TakeOver up just to compete with AEW, I'm fine with competition, but Vince needs to hold a pattern on what he's doing. Because, yes, it avoids burnout if you maybe separate the takeovers from the big pay-per-views, the big 4 and whatever. The problem is people are used to it, and that you make these weekend events. If you take that away, fans may not want to devote that much time.
Yeah.
It may take away from NXT, which is having some difficulty selling out all their takeovers. So that's something.
That's also one of the things that NXT needs to be
conscious of.
Yeah, and being on TV, we're definitely going to see a boost in ticket sales.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once they get out of Full Sail.
I don't know if they're getting out of Full Sail, are they?
Not till, at least not through December.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see, but back to All Out. I think that All Out's going to be...
Right.
I think it's going to be quite a good show. I'm glad that despite the fact that John Moxley got injured, which of course, best wishes on a speedy recovery to Mox. And the fact
that ain't nobody's fool.
No, it ain't. I think we covered that in the last one. But it's true. It's not. We're probably gonna get Aja Kong in the Rumble facing off against Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
I'm guessing because they still haven't announced all the participants yet. They're trying to keep some of them a surprise. I don't know who the fuck else they could bring out. Victoria. Bring out Victoria. No, seriously. It's her last year in wrestling. Bring her out.
AJ Lee.
I'd pop for that.
You're right.
I'd pop for that. I mean,
and then everybody was like, wait, does that mean...
It takes off the mask into CM Punk? How?
No.
I mean, I know
No, I mean, like, people would definitely start chanting CM Punk during every match because they're expecting him to step out.
That's a good point. Yeah, and we don't need that. But I think Victoria, even if it's just a one-off, why not? I mean, it'd be pretty cool to see. But really, I think it's going to be a pretty big show.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It better be.
Do you think Chick Magnet Phil's going to show up?
No, but if he's going to show up, it's going to be here. Yeah. If he doesn't show up here, that's it.
What would you prefer to show? Actually, no, I know exactly what I think we might both prefer him to show up on. Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho claims the championship.
He says he's the best in the world, and then... Mm-hmm. Here's the problem, though. I agree with you.
Well, then again, that would put him in the title picture. Maybe not.
It would pop. It would pop for interest, or whatever the fuck word I'm trying to say.
Hot-shotting.
It wouldn't just be the hot-shotting. AEW, and they've taken too many shots at WWE, and WWE's taking shots at AEW, and they whatever. They did during the Monday Night Wars, and then everybody took shots at ECW, and then everybody in ECW took shots and did a whole bunch of shit for $50, but that's another story.
Yeah, speaking about doing shit for $50, I wonder what EC3's up to.
God, poor EC3. Poor EC3.
Anyway.
But back to
Chick Magnet Punk.
Chick Magnet Punk, which is just funny. That's what it stands for.
Yep.
I can see him showing up. But here's the thing. If he shows up during the whole thing with and shows up facing Jericho, faces off with him. Okay. AEW railed against part-timers and this kind of stuff. We're going to push younger talent. Right there is going to send the wrong message.
Better idea. MJF costs Hangman Page the championship.
Okay.
Chris Jericho claims it. And MJF, does the I wanted a shot at the title next because I'm better than you. and then, you know it.
Okay.
And then CM Punk hits. And that way you have a feud for MJF and CM Punk.
Yeah.
Where CM Punk passes the torch to MJF.
Yeah.
Which would be, don't laugh, but the rub of the century.
He would be better than him.
Yeah.
Rub the pipe bomb.
All right. Anyway, MJF, highest there is at that point. Chris Jericho has time to get into better shape for MJF to claim the title.
Yeah, I like that.
Hangman Page feuds with him. Mm-hmm. Hangman Page inevitably wins it off of MJF.
Yeah, I just said, I'm sorry, just hashtag rub of the century. So,
yeah. Because,
of course, that's what I remembered instantly from that. I agree with you, though. That's actually a better idea. Or you could have Jericho, or you could have Punk show up and maybe face off with Omega. Something like that.
That's true.
But your idea is pretty good. Do you really think he's going to show up, though?
No.
Okay, right.
It's fun to fantasy book this shit, but at the same time, they don't need him.
No, they don't.
He'd be a huge, huge boon for them. But at the same time, they also don't need him.
They don't. They do need stars, but they need people that have years left, and that's nothing against Punk. But Punk is about a year, just over a year older than I am.
Yeah. He could definitely help boost the talent higher. But, that's all up to him at that point.
And they are going back to Chicago in November, end of November. Or just before Thanksgiving. So, hey, if he does show up and he just sticks around for that, hey, that's a nice little boost, and it's just for a few months. Mm-hmm. So, who knows? But All Out should be fun. Let's go to the thing about tag team wrestling, though. We're not going to go into a giant rant thing like I did when I talked about tag team wrestling, how Vince hates it. And Vince does hate it. It's obvious he hates it. Come on.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what happened on Raw? You got Rollins and Braun as the tag team champions against Dolph and Rude. The
Rude Dolphin.
It's just not going to be. It's not a good thing. It's not good.
No.
And that's not against Rude and Dolph, who could actually end up being a pretty good team.
Yeah. Weirder things have happened.
Yeah.
See the bar for details.
That would be a bad idea. I don't drink.
Well, as long as you're not one of the Usos or,
By the way, the Usos were going to be part of that PSA, the drunk driving PSA, and they got busted, driving there to the studio.
Jeff Hardy cider.
Victory Road Jeff Hardy, the one that makes everyone sad.
Anyway.
The thing is with tag team wrestling, though, is you take a look at, and I said this in that same video, WWE needs to focus more on having tag team wrestling. You need to have some tag teams that are just jobbers. They could occasionally get a win, maybe, but they're jobbing tag teams.
Still the Colognes?
And the B team.
And the Sings?
And I forgot all about the Sings. Maybe have Kalisto and Grand Metalik when, like, Dorado goes heel until, like, you know, both of them leave, or as Nigel calls him, Lindsay Dorito. But
the loser house party.
The loser house party, that's pretty good. I think what they need to do on the main roster is Vince needs to realize not putting, you know, just big superstars or big talents together. That's not the way you do tag teams.
What?
Well, I mean, it's not the way.
You just put two wrestlers together. That's how you make a tag team.
No, Vince, that's not how it works.
Well, I don't care. I want the big bearded guy paired with the little bearded guy.
Vince, they're going to be feuding for the title Clash of Champions. Just put the tag titles on them.
It'll create conflict. It's pretty good stuff, let me tell you.
It's such good shit. Just, God damn it. But even SmackDown's like got nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sad. I actually had to remind
Remember
myself.
how the tag team division used to be one of the hottest things on WWE's TV?
Yeah, it was like New Day and Usos were having these like freaking lights out matches. You know, I'm not saying that because they're dark.
Back before also the controversy with Enzo and Cass, they were actually, you know, enjoyable to watch on TV.
Owens making fun of Enzo's dance on the apron.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Really,
the Hardys return.
Yeah, but Jeff's out for a while.
No. What I meant was the Hardys return at WrestleMania.
Oh, the Hardys return. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's still one of the most viewed clips of on WWE's YouTube channel.
I mean, that makes sense, honestly.
I wonder who it could be.
Ooh. And the fact it was an open-air stadium and they caught that much noise stuck in there was just absolutely amazing. But with tag team wrestling, even NXT has its issues.
Yeah, they've got how many tag teams right now?
Forgotten Sons, you know, the Fashion Popo. They have
Street Profits.
Yeah, the Meryl Streep Profits, as I call them. Undisputed Era. AOP is on the main roster. That's it. I don't know anybody else.
Fluke.
Yeah, I think they only have 14. Well, no, Lorcan and Birch, but they don't really. Lorcan's too busy typing in all caps on his Twitter and
doing some awesome shit on 205 Live.
He has been doing some.
If you guys aren't watching 205 Live,
you're not alone.
You're not alone. But you should be watching 205 Live because that is home to just the best talent in WWE, not in NXT, and not named Daniel Bryan.
I'll agree. No, I'll agree. What little bit I've been able to see.
What are three of the most biggest stars that aren't on the top of the card right now? Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali.
Yeah. And I think Buddy might be getting used the best out of all of them.
Yeah, and that was all of them got a pass purely by accident, except for Cedric. He was, main event champion.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Main event's still going, and I don't even watch it.
I don't even know how main event's still going.
Yeah. But if you guys aren't watching 205 Live, Humberto Carrillo, Jack Gallagher, Brian Kendrick, Akira Tozawa, the Lucha House Party.
Kendrick's still wrestling. He hasn't transitioned to being a coach yet.
He's mostly working with Akira Tozawa.
All right.
I mean, as long as he can still do sliced bread number 2, he's good. But
and not doing number 2 while doing the sliced bread.
I pooped myself.
Too many carbs.
But I mean, Drew Gulak, you've got Tony Nese, you've got Arya Daivari, and probably the best run that any Daivari has had in the company, which isn't saying much when you think about it.
Oh, come on.
Shawn Daivari had a great run.
Shawn Daivari had a great run until they decided to have Hassan have masked guys choke out The Undertaker with piano wire when the London bombings went off. Now, to be fair, WWE didn't know that happened, but still, even if that hadn't happened, that's not the best idea.
Yeah. Anyway.
Davari actually he had a pretty good run. Impact as Sheik Abdul Bashir.
But yeah, I think if they do dissolve 205 Live like I've heard,
yeah,
right now they're using 205 Live as their experimental grounds on production work.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of the 205 Live episodes recently, like this week's 205 Live, they've now incorporated drones.
What?
To get more dynamic footage.
Huh.
So they'll have...
Wait, what?
They'll have camera drones going around and recording things as the match goes on.
That sounds dangerous.
It's not.
But what if they go rogue?
They don't.
I've
They're
watched...
not powered by AI.
I have watched too many sci-fi movies. Moving on.
That's only if they are powered by AI, but they are controlled by the peoples.
Oh, okay.
They did it for the footage. They did it for the people. But, like, it allows for more dynamic camera angles. I think they're testing things out before they head to Fox. They might just have 205 Live be the third hour of SmackDown.
They could.
Which I hope they do, because 205 Live just demands the attention. But back to tag teams.
Better idea for 205 Live really quick. Have it open up the second hour like they had the Cruiserweights open up the second hour of Nitro.
Yeah.
Do something like that. Hook people in. Tag teams. NXT UK, you got Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams. Flash Morgan Webster. Flash. The Savior
of the Universe.
And who the fuck's he teaming with? Andrews. Mark Andrews.
Andrews?
Yes. You have the team that I always call the Grizzled Hung Veterans instead of the Grizzled Young Veterans because I have a slightly dirty mind. Slightly. It's Zach Gibson because if you hate Gibson, take your shoes off.
Yeah. And what's his face?
James Drake.
James Drake was the one that had his own face on his spandex, right?
I think so. I think Drake...
Because I believe it was the crowd that was chanting him, he's got his whole face on his ass.
That sounds about right. No, you got James Drake. I think he's the one that him and Isla Dawn have a back and forth on Twitter, which sounded a lot less dirty until I said that. Isla Dawn, there we go. There's somebody to watch out for. But you got the Coffee brothers. I think it's Mark Coffee and Wolfgang that are like teaming up.
Okay.
And then you got so there's some tag teams there. You got Mustache Mountain, of course.
Yeah.
The most over tag team that they have. There's a tag team division all over the place.
I don't know why they haven't gone to the main roster.
May not want to. Bate apparently turned down an opportunity to go there, which is why he lost the title so soon to Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne had the best run of any title in the past, I don't know, 10 years in terms of length of time.
I mean, as far as like length of time, the last one that was longer than that was Hogan's 4-year run.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar lost his title before Dunne did.
Yeah, which is before he done did.
Yeah, which is great.
And I'll agree there. I mean, tag team wrestling, can it be saved? It can't be saved with Vince in charge. It just can't be.
You know who they need to get in charge of tag team wrestling?
Holla,
holla, holla.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go with.
Yeah.
It's exactly who I was going to go with. You know who I was going to go with, Chris.
Who was it?
Paige here.
No. There's that, but I mean...
She actually, I mean...
No one is more synonymous with random tag teams than Teddy Long.
True, because he did manage Doom, and he managed the Skyscraper, Sid Vicious, and Danny Spivey, before Sid got a hold of Scissors. But actually, Teddy Long has managed a lot. He managed Rodney Mack and...
Psycho Sid.
Yeah, literally. Rodney Mack and Christopher Nowitzki. That was a tag team that actually happened in 2003.
Right.
I don't know why.
But no, I think him bringing attention back onto the tag team division, just bring him for a short time just to get the crowd like thinking about tag team again.
Saying that because he's short?
What?
Teddy Long is short. You said bring him in for a short time.
Yeah, that is the long and short of it.
Gain his last name just thinking about more tag team action. Yes. Yeah, it could get a focus on tag team wrestling. The problem is tournaments, not the tag team turmoil bullshit that they did.
Tag team tournaments are always a great idea because it's a showcase in and of itself.
And just people that you aren't using, like abolish get rid of the 205 Live thing, or not 205 Live. Get rid of the 24/7 title. If you're going to get rid of 205 Live, take some of the people there, team them up. Have Gallagher work in NXT UK if you need to. Mm-hmm. Lorcan and Birch would be a dynamite team on any brand, especially SmackDown.
Send Apollo Crews back down to NXT.
Yeah.
Have him team up with Jordan Miles. Their smiles would light up the crowd.
Smiles for Miles. There we go. There's the name of the team. Right there. Smiles for Miles. If they happen to be listening, just go ahead and use
Also,
it.
Crews and Miles.
Oh, there we go. Cruising for miles and miles. We should get back on topic.
Yes.
Tag team wrestling hopefully can be saved.
Yes.
But not with Vince. Because he just sees it differently. So let's finish up talking about the couple venues that are housing. First, NXT TakeOver UK Cardiff houses about 5,000. Holds about 5,000. That's capacity. Tickets were still available, but not too many, I don't think. I don't know if they're going to fill it to capacity or just fill it like a certain amount.
Which are you more excited to see?
What, between Royal Quest and Cardiff?
Mm-hmm.
Which one am I paying $25 to watch on Fight TV, Chris?
Is it Cardiff?
Yeah, it is. No, it's Royal Quest. And that's nothing against Cardiff because, look, we're going over the card really quick. One, 7,500 people is what, the Copper Box holds. New Japan Royal Quest will probably sell more tickets.
Yeah. If I wake up early enough, I might watch Cardiff.
Hey, you watch it, go for it. I mean, because the matches.
I am reviewing it. I might talk about it on the next week's podcast, but...
Fuck, you could review it. You could do just fine.
I could review it, and I could do just fine. I could also do the old school intros that I did.
You could do that. That's up to you, though. It's totally up to you. Maybe we'll check the the network and everything and see.
But
what
I
time
would like
it's
to
gonna be on.
catch up on NXT UK before I would watch.
Video packages will probably catch up on it.
Yeah.
But the match will probably steal the show. I gotta be honest. I think Tony Storm and Kaylee Ray is probably gonna steal it. Walter and Tyler Bate will probably be the match of the night, but the women are gonna be just below it. Tag team match would be pretty good. The other two I don't really care about.
Okay.
Right.
What do we got going for Royal Quest?
Royal Quest. No, the hardest hitting match will be, besides Okada and Suzuki, because Suzuki will throw young lions, he will throw barricades, he will throw pieces of the wall at everybody. That's just what he'll help clean up afterwards because he's an environmentalist. Suzuki is an anomaly. Mm-hmm. But that's going to be hard hitting. The hardest hitting one though will be Kenta and Ishii for the never open weight title. Ishii has no neck. Kenta has no shame after what he did to Shibata. To be fair,
Fresh Shibata.
To be fair, Shibata did attack him first, though.
For any of you who don't know why I do that every time Shibata's name is mentioned, my dad used to work at a bakery in Seattle, a specialties bakery, and every time he'd make Shibata, he would yell out for all of his coworkers and all of the customers to hear, "Hot, fresh Shibata!"
Having met your dad, I am not surprised by that.
And he would do it like that. Because it would make people laugh, and my dad is nothing if not a guy who brings joy no matter where he goes. Also a healthy amount of cynicism.
I wouldn't know anything about being cynical.
No, sarcasm, I should say. Yes.
Or even sarcastic. Never been sarcastic in my life.
I don't believe you.
You don't have to, because I don't believe me either. But those will be the two matches. I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. and Tanahashi, I think will be a good match, but the problem is we've seen it before, and that's New Japan's issue. And this is something I want to talk about because they got their tag team thing.
You think he's going to blame the Queen when he loses?
Queen won't!
The Queen shut down the fucking Parliament!
Boris Johnson ruined my shield.
Boris fucking Johnson!
Oh,
god damn
it. Freaking Zack Sabre Jr. is great. But a little
his
bit
whole
of
character is that angry liberal that all the conservatives think all liberals are like.
It's just great because he's a vegan also. So, I mean, those that, eat meat, get even more annoyed with him. I mean, I don't. Whatever. He is what he is, and he's a brilliant wrestler. The problem is, so New Japan's got, a tag team title match here. The problem is, and this is another thing about tag team wrestling, New Japan doesn't exactly have the most stacked tag team ranks either. And it's sad because...
Sorry, I'm showing him a foam finger.
Oh, for fuck's
sake. That has Ricochet written on the big part of the finger,
Oh. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. But moving on from that, besides the Guerrillas of Destiny, they don't really have that many tag teams. They don't have that many tag teams in the junior heavyweight ranks.
If you cover it up like this, does it look like something different?
God damn it, Chris. It really is going to be something the New Japan needs to work on. I'm excited for Royal Quest. Don't get me wrong. I think Cardiff's going to be a great show.
Oh, yes.
It will be. But the problem is I don't know if the UK brand is going to be profitable. Because they have so many... There's so much money going, to so many different brands. Mm-hmm. They needed to not have the UK brand.
Right.
To me, it's a bad idea. And that's nothing against anybody in that brand.
But not in hindsight now, knowing that NXT is going to be 2 hours, the only thing I could think of that would also benefit them is to wrap NXT UK into NXT.
They may do it. Honestly. That could actually be something, I hate to say it, that might be a good idea. Now, apparently they do have a performance center over in the UK, which is a bad idea.
Yeah. Either that or create NXT UK's... Well, no, actually, I think they already do broadcast UK on... in the UK.
I think so. I don't know about TV deals. Yeah, that'd be kind of weird if they didn't. But Royal Quest I'm most excited for. Cardiff, if people are excited to watch UK TakeOver Cardiff, have fun. Mm-hmm. Honestly. I would split screen it, except I barely have the attention span for one wrestling event. So we are going to be watching, we'll be watching All Out for sure. I'll be watching Royal Quest tomorrow, paying the, $25 on a fight, which is fine, and having fun.
Yeah.
But really, I guess maybe one other thing we could talk about really quickly is... Nah, we already talked about it. We already talked about if Sasha Banks' push could cause a backlash or something like that. Which it could.
Yeah.
But...
Vince is nothing if not a smart businessman.
True.
So, he's nothing but a businessman.
That's true.
Honestly, things will only work for so long. Like we were mentioning on Graham's podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, his live stream.
People can't hold their contracts hostage anymore. It's not going to happen.
And that's kind of the thing, because they're independent contract. Here's the deal. They need to really focus.
They need to actually hire these people on as employees.
One thing they should do, just cut Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And distribute his money. That can cover some healthcare stuff right there. They're not bleeding money yet.
No,
they
not.
Will be.
But good PR can go a long way for improving brand recognition. And as we all know, philanthropy is the new form of marketing. Stephanie.
God damn it.
Needs to be off of creative.
She needs... she won't ever be out of the company, but what she needs to be is she just needs to stop, coming up with bad ideas, which is pretty much everything she comes up with. Mm-hmm. They need to have the McMahons only backstage.
Yeah.
At best, because Shane
treat
doesn't
them
need
like
to be...
William Regal today, not, William Regal of, 10 years ago.
Right. Well, they're going to have brass knucks being legal to be carried in, Texas pretty soon. So William Regal's going to be happy. No, seriously, that's actually something they're
Sorry,
gonna
first my brain went to brass Canucks.
Brass Canucks.
These are the toughest Canadians I've ever met.
If they have brass teeth, they might be. Or they're just blinged out. What the fuck are we doing with the end of this show, Chris?
I have no idea.
I have no idea at all.
But what more do we want to cover?
I really can't think of anything else, honestly.
Except for Royal Quest.
Yeah, we're excited for Royal Quest, all that stuff. I really can't think of anything else we need to really cover.
Yeah.
Because, sure, there's a bunch of topics, there's a bunch of stuff from, Raw and stuff like that, but we mainly covered that in the review.
Yep.
I really can't think of much else, and, that's the thing. We don't want to let these shows, go on for, an hour and a half or whatever.
Again?
Well,
we were really excited. It was our first time, so
yeah, which is weird, because the first times don't usually last that long. One thing we should mention, though, we are going to be seeing, you're going to be going to an indie show in a couple weeks.
It's the last appearance of Ref Aubrey at Without a Cause Wrestling, a promotion she has been heavily involved in since the start.
Aubrey's great, honestly. I mean, hey, maybe she'll be at the Defy show in a couple weeks. Maybe.
I hope so.
If she is, I'll say goodbye to her.
That Defy show is going to be fun.
And it's Darby Allin's last Seattle match.
Yeah.
Except if all AEW comes back to Seattle. I think we should probably end this right about here because I think we're just about out of this stuff.
So
here.
Thank you again for joining us on our little foray into just doing an audio format because, let's be honest, it's easier to talk this way. It's a little bit more freeform, and we enjoy having you guys be able to just sit back and listen to our wonderful, wonderful voices.
Well, your wonderful voice and me just
John's.
just me sound like a cracker because I am.
Well, I mean, if you were missing, you know what that'd mean.
What would that mean?
We'd be crack-a-lacking.
Oh, God damn it.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in to the Real Honest Radio podcast.
Make sure
I've been the Durbinator.
Yeah, I've been John Ritlin. I'm probably somebody else by now.
Yeah.
But make sure to, like, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments, let us know what you think.
Share this around. Maybe send us some questions. And
yeah, you could do that. Here's the thing. Like, we may do the questions thing at some point, we may not. I enjoy doing hashtag Ask for Honesty, but...
And if there are any matches that you think we need to watch from indie events in your area or something like that, let us know. Send us a link to it, and we'll check them out.
Yeah, please do that, actually.
Or at least I'll check them out, depending on how much time we got.
I might. But, yeah, anyway, we will end this, and we will be back for All Out tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'll be back for New Japan.
Have a good night, folks.
Yep.